All right. Well, hey guys, welcome back to yet another episode of the BS Group Podcast.
Yeah.
It's been ages, damn.
Yeah, it's
dude,
been a while
it has
since we've
been
gotten together for
ages. This is drink 3 of the evening. How about you fellas? What do you?
I
want?
think so, yeah.
I'm just drinking water, so this is like cup
I respect
number
that,
4.
man. Yeah, dude, stay hydrated. Hell yeah.
Woo. It's been so long since we last recorded. Jared now has a beard. Like, it's just insane.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, he grew.
Can you give us a little bit of beardismer? Like, like...
I don't know if
Oh,
it's
that's
picking
pretty
up,
good.
but
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm
can
not
hear
really
it.
sure if it
No,
works.
I can hear it for
but-
sure.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, yeah. So, as always, I am one of your hosts here. My name is Jared. I am joined by my co-host Tyler,
Assad, dudes.
and we are also once again joined by good friend, regular guest Charlie.
Ooh, 3 for 3 on the. Where how many episodes have there been now? I think there's like 4 now.
I
this would
I
be
think this is
the
the 4th episode.
Yes.
This is the 4th. Production order, we're not too sure, but I think on the
Yeah.
release schedule, this is number 4.
I'm okay with being honest that we're probably gonna bankroll episodes as we record more.
What? No,
Well,
we're doing
we're
this
like
every week
we're
live.
deep in the podcast recording bunker, where the aliens can't read our minds. I haven't
Yeah.
seen Sunlight, so I don't actually know what episode
Yeah,
this is.
for the listeners who are listening in the future, there's currently an alien invasion right now, and it's forced humanity underground. You ever read The War of the Worlds? It's kind of like that. We had to dig underground, and now we're in an underground society while we wait for the red mist to clear.
Yeah.
You would never believe that this episode is supposed to be about theme parks.
Yeah, well, because the theming of our imaginary society, underground society. Yeah, we're talking about theme parks today.
Yeah, damn. Wow, that was so as I was telling you guys just a few short minutes ago, I'm probably gonna have to default to you guys a little bit about this because Charlie, you're a
I
theme
think there's
park.
plenty for you to talk about, Jared.
Oh yeah, like I can jump in, but I feel like you two are like the experts.
Yeah,
you know?
theme parks we're kind of
you can gobble a Mickey Mouse pretzel
So.
with the best of them,
That is true.
Yeah. Jared's right here. He's got the two guys who know what they're talking about here.
Bro, I log into the doc here so I can look at the things that I wrote about our theme park adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And again, dude, DoorDash is out here like, oh, we noticed you were looking at Taco Bell. Were you still interested in that?
You can DoorDash T-Bell.
No,
here
I
if
think
you
it's just
really
funny, They've got my
They
fucking
know.
number.
Yeah, they got you by the.
I keep getting away and they keep pulling me
trying
back.
to keep you. All right. Yeah.
want. Yeah. So I mean, Charlie, obviously you're. I mean,
Wait,
you're,
we're not gonna have a weekly catch up?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I figured we are gonna.
Yeah, sure. Let's do the weekly catch up right now. Obviously, again, I don't mind being transparent about this stuff. We just did the Star Wars episode. So
No, we didn't. That was like last month.
Well, I
Look
mean,
at the YouTube upload
time
dates.
is relative, Charlie. Okay. But yeah, yeah. So I'm down for what Tyler was saying. Maybe talk about the Big E.
That's kind of like our closest thing to a theme park here. There's some theming.
I didn't go.
I went yesterday, as a matter of fact. I went with Emily. It was a very nice time for the Big E. I remember the Big E is one of those things where it comes around every year and you're like, yeah, I really want to go. That'll be fun. And then you go, and when you're done, you're like, yeah, that's okay. I could go without doing that ever again. And then the next year comes around, you're like, yeah, let's go.
One of my close friends, the proprietor of JavaStop, told me that the potatoes in the main building were $20, and for those reasons,
Oof.
I'm out.
Dude.
Yeah. For those of you who are unaware, the Big E is a big event that happens in New England. It's normally yearly, but because of the mysterious
Global
thing
panorama.
the thing that YouTube won't let us talk about, they haven't had it for a few years, so they brought it back. Actually, I think they might have had it last year.
They did have it last year.
I went
yeah.
last year.
I was thinking of D23, which will be relevant later.
Was there? Did you guys have to wear masks? Like, I didn't even think about it.
Oh god, no.
So last year there was still like a lot of COVID protocols in place for Swagawam. So
Yeah, I remember that, but this year they were just raw dogging it. But yeah, it's a big fairground, and it's mostly fairgrounds of like food stands and tents selling shit. But there's an area that is a bunch of buildings built in the style of each of the states they represent. It's each of the New England states. You got Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. And all those buildings are full of things very specific to the states, mostly food and such being sold, or crafts. But it's very nice, and that's the most themed this area gets, besides the historical American village.
Yeah, none of that shit matters. There's also the big building where you can get the CNN TV shit. Like those knives and the
that is the Better Living Center, my friend.
There's also the building where you can bring in your prized hog.
Yeah, they got the fucking
right outside the building is where they put the butter sculpture.
You got the pig races. You see the little biggest running around the track for an Oreo.
My favorite thing to do is to go and test out the hot tubs. They tell you you're not supposed to get in, but
all I know is that I just want a deep fried pickle on a steak.
Oh my god! Did you? All right, I don't know, Jared. Have you been yet this year?
Yeah. So me and Amanda actually just went on Tuesday. So
did you see the Dilly Dog?
The Dilly Dog?
Excuse me.
The Dilly Dog. So the Dilly Dog is a brand new concoction being sold at the Big E this year. It is your center layer is a hot dog.
Holy
and then
shit,
the hot dog is inside a pickle.
Oh my god!
And then that pickle is in corn dog batter and deep fried.
It's the Plizzy, bro.
It's called the Dilly Dog, but us cool kids call it the Dilly Dog.
That's the most Boston shit I've ever heard in my entire life.
It sounds nasty because it's a whole ass cucumber that they gored out and put a hot dog in. It's like
a fucking cucumber violated by a hot dog.
I saw a child eating it, and I'm like, that kid is gonna die by the time he's 12.
So I think an important thing once again, in the off chance that we don't know the person that is currently listening to this.
Yeah, if it's our fan from Brussels.
Yeah, exactly. If it's our
shout out to Brussels, dude.
I think it's very important to know the Big E. At least when I talk to other people in the area, whether it's you guys, family, other friends, it's known for just having deep fried everything.
Yeah, they got a flatliner burger. I don't know what's in it, but the whole thing is that it could give you a heart attack.
Yeah. I actually got me and Amanda got deep fried mushrooms.
I want to give
actually buzzing.
Part of the experience that Jared can't describe to you.
Okay.
So when you go to the Big E, the first thing that hits you is the smell. Very much so like any other theme park, Everywhere else they really cater. They want to draw you in. It smells good. It smells like baked goods. The Big E smells like cigarettes and horse manure.
Yep.
And you cannot convince me otherwise.
Yep. No, the first thing I smelled when we walked onto the fairgrounds was horse manure, because they have horses that just parade around the thing, but unlike I hate to use this example because we're going to be talking a shit ton about them later, but Disney, they have horses on property, and they always make sure that the horses, they're fed on a very specific feeding schedule, so that way when they are on duty at the park, they will not be shitting.
What?
These horses are not shitting. And they don't even have poop bags or anything too, so they have figured out a system to make sure these horses are not taking a fat dump.
It's fucking beyond science.
On the magic, yeah.
Bro, it's the Mouse House, man. They got some magic juju going on
horse,
there.
They our nation's top horse scientists working on the clock. But no, the Big E, the horses they're just fucking shitting all over the streets. Mm-hmm. Nobody cleans it up either, so you're just having to keep a lookout for any fresh or somewhat fresh piles as you're walking around. And it's just nothing's greater than eating some fair food while just smelling the big old I don't know what horses eat, but their poop always smells like somebody is dying.
I'm pretty sure the ones that are at the Big E are Budweiser Clydesdale, so they are on a strict liquid diet.
That's fair. But yeah, Big E, it's I like to call it white trash Disneyland. maybe I could give it a little. Maybe it's more like a white trash Six Flags, which Six Flags is already kind of like a white trash Six Flags.
Well, yeah, actually, I think one of the important things to note here, right? Six Flags is literally 10 minutes from here.
Yeah, we actually that's our local. I don't even want to give it the dignity of calling it a theme park, and we'll get to that later. But
okay.
Damn, dude, we got a Disney elitist.
Yeah. It is a amusement park.
I'm not saying I disagree, but
yeah, no, I'm a. We'll get into this. I guess this is a good time to segue. But yeah, so I've gotten into theme parks last couple of years because I went on a trip in 2018 and I hyperfixated on it, and ever since my life has not been the same. But I went as a kid, as most people. I don't want to say most people, as some people are so fortunate enough to do, but it was a very surface level. I like seeing Mickey. I like riding the rides. But when last time I went, I don't know why, but I was just way more into like learning about like the history of things and like learning about like, like, oh, the little architectural tricks or little engineering marvels that go into these things.
It's like going to Disney World like that. Is that like, are we East Coast elites? Is that like what Fox News is talking about?
Okay. I don't think so. Okay. I think having an appreciation for stuff like that doesn't make us an elite.
If I may, it depends how often you go to Disney. That is the line. Yeah. There is a strict
line whether or not you're a Disney adult or not.
Well, no. If we're talking about like the whole East Coast elite things, right? If you got to Disney once, that's something. That's one category. If you've been to Disney a few times, that's another one. If you go to Disney yearly, that's like the final boss.
Yeah,
like when you have the
that's your only vacation. Why go to Europe?
Like the vacation club.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. No. I mean, I don't want to knock the vacation club because my last trip was sponsored by. We have a family friend who so graciously let us use his vacation club. Rest in peace. So we could go down there and stay on property, which I'd never done before. My family has always stayed in one of those timeshare condos that's like conveniently right outside, but not as good as what's in property. But yeah, no. I'm definitely like a every now and then kind of guy. I say as I'm going this winter for the first time in like 4 years. So,
yeah, no, I always I always enjoyed going, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's to Disney or to Six Flags, because I've always, specifically roller coasters. Maybe it's just like the adrenaline, that like I enjoy.
Yeah.
But I think Disney, for what it's worth, actually, sorry, let me back up. So when we go to like the Biggie or whenever we went to the local Fireman's Carnival.
Oh, right? Rest in peace, the Fireman's Carnival. That was Southwick lost its soul when they stopped doing that.
That was a lot of fun, too.
Dude, it used to have like rides and shit. Now it's just like carny games and fucking crushed cars.
They don't have they haven't had the Fireman's Carnival in years.
Yeah, it's been 2 or 3 years now.
Oh my God.
I remember the last time they did it was probably early college, and it was like like in the parking lot of our local rec center. Had like a swing ride and one other thing, and then
in a wrecked car.
And they had a kissing booth. It was very weird.
Oh, I don't remember the kissing booth. I remember the there was a bunch of those old dudes with their train sets, and then a chili cook-off.
Do you remember like when we were kids and it was like it was just like straight up like traveling carnival shit?
Oh yeah,
like they sold like fireworks and
it was a wild time. They would set up on like the field, like the big fields near the schools, and it would be like every single carnival. They had a Ferris wheel.
Do you remember the fake cigarettes where it was like filled with baby powder and you'd like puff it out? Yes.
Yeah, and it was a magical time. I remember spitting off the top of the Ferris wheel with my brother because we saw it on Camp Laszlo, and we got chewed out. Like
what did you do?
Me and my brother rode up to. We were on the Ferris wheel, and when we were at the top, we spat down to see how long it would take to hit the ground. And I guess the guy operating the ride like noticed, and so he got mad and like booted us off.
That is some feral Western mass shit.
And then our mom made us apologize to him, which we should have, but we were like 6, so we didn't really know any better.
Yeah. Well, in the one I think the one thing that I actually like really appreciate about I don't even know if this is theme parks, but again, I like roller coasters, okay, but I feel like you can see the art behind some of them, right? As opposed to this Fireman's Carnival where they used to have kind of like the rinky-dink roller coaster that would like fucking like be on like cinder blocks and it'd be like shaking like violently.
Put together by someone who couldn't pass a piss test.
Yeah. Yeah. The fucking
offloaded off of a truck and then
they always had
scuffed together.
And you would see them like while we were in school. I remember because we'd see them come and go while we were at school because they'd set up during the day. And we'd be at recess watching them. They literally they have a trailer hitch on these rides. And they just pack them up and they go. Like this roller coaster, they just kind of like folded it up like it was train track pieces, and in a trailer, and there it goes.
You remember like walking around, you like pick up a bolt and like bring it over to one of them. You're like, "Is this important?"
Yeah, put in the trash. It only needs about 32 of the.
No, it's not
yet. Fireman's Carnival.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, but to go back to your point about the roller coasters, I think that's why I appreciate parks like Disney and Universal more so than Six Flags, because I'm not a big roller coaster guy. I used to be when I was a kid, and then I got a head injury. I think I was in high school maybe, And the doctor was like, "Yeah, you can't ride roller coasters anymore, because I guess like the velocity of the roller coaster, like the shakiness,
Yeah, I have
will
GERD,
damage."
so roller coasters is just a one-way trip to Planet Vomit.
Yeah. See, I might permanently damage a piece of my brain. You might vomit up the Taco Bell. So
GERD
it's about the same in terms of pain. But yeah, no. But Disney's, it's more calm. You're on these little rides that go through scenes. So
I think the
I
focal
can't do the
point
roller
of
coasters.
Disney World is today. Like the reason it's so damn good is it is exclusively staffed by theater kids.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Or was exclusively staffed by theater kids.
What do you mean was?
The big layoffs, dude. They've laid off like thousands of employees in the last couple of years.
I've gone since the pandemic, and it's still all theater kids.
Dang, well, that's reassuring.
Dude, see, I didn't know that. Okay, so the House of Mouse is absolutely trying to cover this up. All right.
Yeah, this is some breaking news that you definitely can't just find out by Googling.
Listen, I'm usually on the up and up with this stuff.
Yeah, no. I'll get into. I actually wrote it down for a bit later on, but I mean, I could go through it now.
Yeah, go for it.
So, Disney, it's pretty great, in terms of like, the engineering, the art, everything goes into it. But I would say modern Disney has definitely fallen off, as the kids say.
What do you think the golden age was?
I personally, at least in terms of the theme parks, right? Like, the company, I would say, I don't want to say when Walt was alive, because that's like, oh yeah, of course. But in terms of the theme parks, I'd say their heyday was the Eisner and Wells era.
So
that was like
late
80s,
90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, 80s to, I think Frank Wells died mid 90s. When he died, for the uninitiated, Frank Wells was president of the Disney company and Michael Eisner was CEO. And so their dynamic was Frank was like the business guy and Michael was the ideas guy. And it was kind of similar to Walt and his brother Roy's dynamic, where Walt he was the ideas guy who would just spout shit without knowing if they could actually do it or not, and then Roy would get it done. And so I think that
Gotcha.
I would argue that the two best periods in the company's history is when you have the leadership set up that way, because any other time that they've only had one person in charge, the company's just not done as good. And so you got Frank Wells and Michael Eisner's just thrown every goddamn thing to the wall. He's like, what if we made a log flume about the funny animals from the slavery movie, and we named it after this mermaid movie that's coming out for the Synergy, and that bizarre concept ended up becoming one of their most iconic rides for however long it was open.
So what was like the turning point? Like what signified like besides obviously someone dying?
Yeah. Well, Frank Wells, tragically died in, I think it was a helicopter accident. And then now you had Michael Eisner manning the ship by himself. So he's got to be both the ideas guy. I mean, not saying that he was the only person who came with ideas, but he was the one who was like asking Imagineers to do shit. Like he was asking them to like figure out how to turn a watermelon into a square, and Imagineers would just go and do it. But now he's had to do both. And when Michael Eisner would get, much like Walt Disney, get really unrealistic and crazy ideas, he would get reined in. I mean, Eisner more than Walt, because Walt always got what he wanted.
Sure.
Minus Epcot, which Tyler will go into. But when Eisner had an idea that was just batshit and would not work, Frank Wells pulled him in. But now Eisner's on his own, and he's and the company it falls apart. There's a lot of you can look it up. There's a lot of videos that talk about it, but the company just
I think it's important to recognize too. Like Eisner was not just like the CEO of like Disney's like theme park division. Like he was the CEO
he was
of
the whole
everything.
company.
So he's like, not only is he busy like running the rest of the company to the ground, but he also is managing the theme parks at the same time.
Yeah.
And so did he not do well even outside of the theme park stuff? Or
yeah, I mean, early 2000s Disney like is a very, because they had just been riding the high of the Renaissance from 89 to
Sure.
Tarzan in 99 or two. Tarzan was 99, right?
Was either Tarzan or the Lion King?
Lion King was 94. Tarzan is what is considered the end of the Renaissance.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That was 99. And then going into 21st century is when things start to, I mean, not that they weren't putting out good things.
Yeah.
Like you got like Treasure Planet, Atlantis, Lilo and Stitch.
Well, it's a lot of cult classics. Like even at the time, it wasn't super popular. Like we look back on it very fondly because it was our childhood, and like, they're subjectively good movies. But they bombed in the box office at the time.
Yeah, I mean, Lilo and Stitch was the only successful movie of that era.
Yeah.
And much like I can't tell you one thing from the theme parks that they put in there in that era that has. I think Soarin' maybe was that era, but it was a very.
Soarin' was later. So Soarin' was originally in Disney's California.
Mm-hmm.
It was the only good ride in Disney's California.
Yeah. Which that was from the Eisner Without Wells era. He was like, "What if we made a theme park
about
California in California?"
Like instead of it's kind of like they took like the Epcot vision, right? Where it's like Americans are too fat and dumb to know that like the countries in Epcot aren't actual countries. And they're like, what if we did the same thing to tourists coming to California? Like, no one wants to actually go to San Francisco.
So it was like a pocket-sized California?
Yeah, it was like their whole thing. Their whole thing was like, he's like, when people come to California for tourism, they're going to Disneyland, but they're also going to other places like the,
like
Golden Gate Bridge. And
like Las Vegas has all those like fake landmarks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like imagine that, but for just California.
Yeah, and it's
so they had like a fake Golden Gate Bridge, and they had like fake national parks.
Yeah, the idea was that instead of people coming to California and going all over, they would come and only go to Disney because you get everything about California. And it didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't. No,
that sounds like
it's gone, right? That was replaced by Pixar Pier.
So, it's still California Adventure, but like the Pixar Pier is what used to be like it was themed to like old California boardwalks.
Oh, okay.
And pretty much everything about the original park is gone now. I think the last remaining thing is it was like a restaurant themed to like California Wharfs. It's being remodeled into a Big Hero 6 restaurant.
There was a ride that is now, I think, in the Cars section of that theme park, where you were taking on the role of like a paparazzi. And you went through an adventure of Hollywood looking at like really bad caricatures of like the Hollywood stars of the time.
Yeah.
And it was like beyond cursed.
And it was supposed to be a really high speed ride, but then Princess Diana died right before they were going to open it. Yeah, in a car crash, running away from the paparazzi, so they had to slow it down. It actually got replaced by a Monsters Inc. ride that's there, and they reused some of the celebrity animatronics. So there's a bunch of animatronics of like the little hazmat guys doing the same shit that the celebrities did.
The person who was like supposed to lead you through was Regis Philbin.
Oh.
Yeah. It was an interesting concept. But yeah, a long-winded way of saying that the golden era, I would say, for the parks was 80s, 90s, and it fell off once that helicopter went down.
Whoa.
No offense. Rest in peace, Frank Wells, but his death really kind of put Disney on a downward spiral.
What was the first year?
Poor choice of words. I didn't mean.
Yeah. All right. Kobe Bryant aside, what was the first year that you went to Disney World?
I'm not entirely sure the year. It was whenever we were in first grade. So that must have been like 2004.
Like yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
So I don't remember much about. I do remember they still had the Snow White ride there.
Yes.
And my mom wanted to ride that.
What was that replaced by?
That was replaced by a meet and greet hall.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah. So they replaced it with nothing of actual value.
So what about you, Jabber?
2008 maybe? I remember I was 10. I was 10.
During the Great Recession.
A little bit
insane.
A little bit older, a little bit more able to do, because when we went, like I would not ride the Haunted Mansion because we had the annual guidebook, and it talked about like, oh, you're gonna see a ghost show up in your car with you.
It's so spooky.
And I imagined like these little, like minecart type things going down for some reason in my mind it was a hallway, a really thin hallway, and then a ghost just shows up in your car, and I was like, I'm not doing that. In reality, that doesn't happen.
So imagine this, right? This can be very difficult to imagine. You both know me on a very deep spiritual level.
Okay.
I went when I was like 2 or 3 years old, and I had horrible gastrointestinal issues.
Wow,
really?
I'm shocked. I'm floored. I'm flabbergasted.
Just a drop of the Florida water hit my mouth, and I got rotavirus.
Oh.
So there are pictures of me as like, I think I was like 3 years old. So this would have been like just prior to 9/11.
just right before it.
Where were you on 9/11 2001?
We went with my grandparents because my grandfather and my aunt were marathon runners, so we went down for the Disney Marathon.
Oh, okay.
And the only pictures they have of me are me like shitting down the back of my grandparents.
Loaded diaper, basically.
Literally, yeah, pretty much. Like we had to go home early because I was so sick.
Good thing you're only 3. You wouldn't have remembered.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
Probably would have been.
I'll say the first time I went was like 2005.
Yeah,
we were in second grade.
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have.
That's tough, buddy. That's
no, it's just hilarious because obviously every story that I'm in has to include me having diarrhea in Disney World.
Yeah. So, just because this is a fun little thing that I had written down in the notes that I wanted to try out. So when I had mentioned that this was theme parks became a hyperfixation for me, they really became a hyperfixation for me. Like I spent pretty much once we got back until like I think it was the rest of the year like binging.
When is your Disney manifesto coming out?
Maybe next week.
Damn.
But like I was binging like Defunctland, Yesterworld.
Dude, Defunctland is bussin'.
Defunctland is like the theme park channel. I'm pretty sure they were like Defunctland was like relatively new when I got into it too. So I was in there on the ground floor.
Did you watch Rob Plays?
Rob Plays. I think he's called Midway to Main Street now. Mm-hmm. Him. Who else? Disney Dan, Offhand Disney. There's a whole bunch of dudes. There's a channel that I'm trying to remember that he doesn't do videos anymore, but his were like goated.
I know for a fact that the fellow pre-diabetics in our subscriber count definitely watch what is that called? The Disney Food Blog.
I actually don't watch them.
Have you ever seen their shit though?
I can imagine that it's definitely having to do with
just
food.
Imagine like grown ass adults just rolling up into like one of the restaurants in Disney World and being like in the middle of the biggest rush ever and they're like, yes, we're actually gonna get one of everything on the menu.
Ooh, one of those people. I remember seeing a video of a guy going to Universal in Japan and going to the Mario restaurant. He's like, yeah, I'll get one of everything. And so it's this dude all by himself in this restaurant. You see a bunch of families around, and he's just got this entire table for himself stacked with Mario-themed food.
It's like they're all like journalists, and they literally try every single food at every restaurant, like everything. Like even if it's like something comes out for like a short period of time, like they book like first class tickets to get there for the first day to get in line and go do it.
We got to get the limited edition.
So
cupcake.
let me ask you, just real quick. So when they do this hypothetical, like everything on the menu order, right? Is it just like they take a bite, like one bite of everything basically, and then everything else just gets
so
junked?
they bring like an army of people. And so like whoever's writing the article just tries a bite, but then like they eat everything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's
That's
like
good.
they get the whole Okay, yeah. I mean, at least they're not tossing out like
you have to think,
all
it's
this food.
Every restaurant. So it's like there are places in Disney World that are like, Michelin star restaurants where it's like you sit down with your loved one and you're not walking away for like less than $600, and they try everything on the menu.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing that's going on the company card.
Yeah, I know.
But
no, it's like it's nice because it's like if you're going on vacation, instead of like worrying about getting those duds, like you know the exact places that they've rated very highly.
That is nice.
Because there's a lot of food in Disney World.
Have they steered you wrong? Have they ever steered you wrong?
Okay. Goose and the fam don't listen to the podcast, at least not yet, right?
Sure.
So I will say yes, 100%. There are places down there that I love that the Disney Food Blog has just like absolutely crapped on. However, the rest of the people in the casa would say
your family, yes,
would say that no, we were never steered wrong because the places that I like are not very popular.
Can you give me an example?
Peso Bills.
So what's up?
That's in Frontierland, right?
Love Peso Bills. Peso Bills is the closest you can get to getting Taco Bell in the Disney.
Yeah.
Why would you? Okay.
Emily and I got that while we were there because we hadn't planned for a lunch, I don't think.
See, that's the thing.
You get these like you go in and it's like the taco bar and it's like the shitty like circle tortillas and you get the cheese. It was not because then you go to like the Beauty and the Beast restaurant and it's like
hits
5-star. It's like an excellent.
I don't want 5-star. I want cheesy, greasy.
Yeah. For a restaurant named Pecos Bills, it fits what it is.
Where the inside looks like a 1990s cafeteria.
Yeah.
So I do just want to interject real quick as while we're on the topic of Disney food, whatever they put in the meal plan brownies is fucking crack. I don't know
gone.
What?
Gone.
No.
Gone.
I never got to have them. No,
dude. No. What?
Well, the meal plan's gone.
I have been dreaming.
They're
of
replaced
those.
with like pudding cups.
Oh.
Okay. I mean, the pudding was good, but like. Dude, those brownies.
So
they're mouth-watering.
Like between when we went and like later years, like they've just revamped everything. Like Disney's still very expensive for what it is.
Sure.
But they were like getting to realize like, oh my god, like we can't just keep selling like French fries and burgers and then charging people for this multi-bajillion-dollar vacation. So like all the places have like incredibly amped up their food.
Interesting. Okay. I actually heard recently that they were like lowering the quality of the food. There was some like
it's still like. Do you remember going in the early 2000s?
I remember that, but I don't remember the food at all.
Okay. The food in the 2000s was like cafeteria food, like literally like hot dogs, burgers, French fries. Now everywhere you go, it's like bougie, like ethnic food, like
that makes sense.
like things that you could go find like downtown Northampton, not,
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yes, I would say that it's probably taken a nosedive after COVID because they, are probably getting rid of staff and like suppliers and everything. But it's still so much better than when we were kids.
Yeah, no, the food was pretty good when we went there. We had the meal plan, which is not a thing anymore.
Yeah, they got rid of it.
They've been getting a lot of things and blaming it because of COVID, but like you had to get rid of a meal plan because of
if you're fat enough, you could make money off of the meal plan, and like this is America, so Disney had to get rid of that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
The meal plan actually was an affordable deal that you would save money by using.
Gone.
Because I remember the last time we went in 2016. Touch on that later.
Yeah.
But we all got the meal plan, and
now it's gone.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
So is the bus that takes you from the airport.
It's
to
not
Disney.
gone. It's still there. It's just not part of Disney anymore, and you got to pay for it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Why? I mean, okay, sorry. The why is a dumb question, right? But so when they got rid of the meal plan, I feel like that was like an actual affordable, decent.
Yeah, and that's why they had to
You
get
said
rid
the
of
word. You said the word. Then that's the reason I had to go.
Modern Disney under our glorious Bobby Chapes is their main priority is making sure the shareholders get another summer home.
Are you familiar with the concept of microtransactions?
Oh, I'm very familiar.
That's what Disney is now.
Yeah. Next thing you know, they're going to be doing a loot box. They're going to bring back the ticket system for rides, but it'll be a loot box. And it's like, oh, are you going to get the rare 5?
Yeah, you get to go on Fast Track this time today.
Yeah,
with
the
5 other
the
people.
legendary drop to ride on the Haunted Mansion. Oh, sorry, you got the common drop of It's a Small World. Or no, that's not even that. The common drop would be you get to ride the Main Street trolley.
So, out of all the rides, at least talking like Disney World, Florida, right?
Yeah. Because to be fair, none of us have been to Disneyland, right?
No,
I haven't.
Yeah, no.
Before we get into this whole time we've been I was trying to set up something and we just completely got sidetracked.
Okay, hold on.
Before we move into like talking in depth, because of my hyperfixation, you could name me pretty much any ride, at least from the American parks, and I could probably tell you a fact on it. So I want to test if my knowledge is still. It was really good when I was
saying. Okay.
Yeah. So. And
I'm thinking of a ride. Just
for those at home, this is I'm asking them this out of the blue, so it's I didn't have time to prepare.
Tell me about the Buzz Lightyear ride.
All right, so let me. The first fact that comes to mind is that the Buzz Lightyear ride in Florida, it used to be a ride called If You Had Wings. I mean, it went through a number of name changes because it was always sponsored by whatever airline was working with Disney at the time, and when eventually their last, sponsorship ran out, it was coincidentally around the time of Toy Story and Toy Story 2, being this big thing. And so they're like, we need a really cheap retheme. So they ended up going with that, and it's the same exact track layout. Even like the, at the ending of the ride when you're going through that long tunnel that's like stars, that was part of the ride. It was like the ending of the ride was like a projection thing. It was a little more complex, but that's what it used to be, and it's pretty much it was a very like budget overlay, but it's become one of the most iconic rides.
I have an idea because I know a fact about this one too.
All right.
Stitch's Great Escape.
So Stitch's Great Escape. I feel like I'm taking the easy way out and going like, this used to be.
That was a alien.
It used to be the extraterrestrial encounter, which was it was Michael Eisner's attempt at appealing to the teenage crowd.
Yeah.
They're like, we need something cool, something edgy. So the original incarnation of that ride had a part in it where a cast member gets murdered by the alien,
and it was a xenomorph too.
It was a bootleg xenomorph. It was supposed to be an actual xenomorph.
Oh, I thought it was.
No. It was going to be, but some rights issues. Now Disney owns it, so they definitely could.
As someone who's gone recently, I never did the alien ride, but I did do the Stitch ride. And the Monsters Inc. laugh floor is 10 times better than any of
I do like the laugh.
Yeah,
I do. Big fan.
But in the original version of Extraterrestrial, they would spray water down on you to simulate the cast member's blood being sprayed down from above.
Oh my god!
They had to tone it down, and
so
then
that's the Stitch spit.
Okay.
It's
Similar concept. I think they changed it so it sprays at you.
Yeah.
But it was so terrifying for children that they had to tone it down to the Stitch one. So instead of getting showered in cast member blood and this very scary experience, you're getting chili dog burps. And when I was the last time I ever wrote it, I think I was like talking to like my brother or my cousin, whoever was next to me, and the lap bar thing started to come down, and it came down on me in a position where it wasn't like comfortable, but I couldn't move because of it, and it was like on my neck. So I remember when Stitch started jumping around, and when it pushed it down, I was terrified I was gonna get my neck broken. So I was using my arms to push up as hard as I could, so that way I would like counteract the forces. It was terrifying. I'm glad that ride is gone. Jared,
wait, it's gone now too?
Yeah, it's gone. It's just a meet, like the entrance area is just a meet and greet for Stitch now.
It was such a warm milk ride in the first place.
I actually really enjoyed it though.
The last time I went, it actually closed down while I was at the park. Emily and I were there, and its last day of operation, we were there, and we were like, "Do you want to ride it?" And we're like, "No, it's fine. It's whatever." We both had not great memories of it, and when I got home, I found out it closed that was the last day it was open, and they closed it without announcing it at all. They just shut it down, and then like a couple months later, they're like, "Yeah, it's not coming back."
We went the last week that the Great Movie Ride was available.
Oh, that was a good one.
The Great Movie Ride is also gone?
Yeah, that's now Mickey's Great Train Escape.
What?
It's all right. Mickey,
it's okay actually.
Mickey and Minnie's Runaway. It's a very controversial ride because it got rid of one of Disney's most, I want to say iconic, but it was a very well done attraction.
Hollywood Studios is not what it used to be.
No, that's a thing I could go on about. Pretty much all of the parks, save for Magic Kingdom, because it's always been kind of like this, but they're losing their identity because modern Disney is just like, what if we replaced everything with IP? What if?
No, it's actually because Disney is run by Mr. Krabs. I like money.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So, what is your favorite and arguably the best ride in Tomorrowland, and why is it the Wedway People Mover?
It's actually the People Mover because all right, so the People Movers. I'm gonna break some stuff down for you guys, right?
Yeah, we're gonna link to Technology Connections below.
So, the People Mover, for those of you who don't know, is a ride that takes you around Tomorrowland and through some of the various show buildings for the rides, and is a very slow, relaxing ride. The track is always moving, so you get onto it as it's moving, and it's like a 15-minute experience where you're just chilling out in this very calming thing. There's a narrative. They actually just very recently redid the narration and threw in a bunch of references to old iterations of both the People Mover and various Tomorrowland stuff. Very cool. But it's a nice take a break experience. And I think theme parks are always at their best when there is some sort of ride like that. So at Disney, you have People Mover, you have the Walt Disney World Railroad that goes around the park.
It's currently closed because of Tron.
Yeah, it's been closed for 5-6 years.
That's because Tron has taken 5-6 years.
Yeah. I don't know how it's taken them that long for what's essentially they controlled Seed, and now they're control Ving, and for some reason
are they just repurposing it as one of the Tron?
No. So
they're where Space Mountain is.
Yeah,
directly next to Space Mountain, they're taking a ride from Disney Tokyo.
Oh no, it's Shanghai.
Shanghai, sorry.
It's one of the two Chinese Disneys. I think it's Shanghai.
The steam train, the one that was actually built in 1800s.
Yeah,
originally went through there. So they're basically having to build a tunnel for a steam train through an attraction.
Yeah, which is kind of neat because they do that at Disneyland. At Disneyland,
also the People Mover kind of does that too.
The People Mover kind of does that, but the railroad, it goes around the whole park. At Disneyland, the railroad goes through 2 diorama scenes. One of them reuses animatronics from the 1964's World's Fair, which is pretty dope.
Yeah.
And it also goes through rides it goes through I know it goes through Splash Mountain. And it goes by the finale scene there.
Disney World used to have scenes, but they had to get rid of them because they were a little unsavory for 2020 audiences.
Yeah, I remember when I wrote it the last time I was there, it was ooh, that didn't age well.
What do you think of the cleaning up of the Jungle Cruise?
I don't actually mind that.
Me neither.
I think the people getting upset that the stereotypical natives are gone.
Yeah.
I think
we talked about them in the Star Wars movie and the guy with his truck.
Yeah. It's the mole people who are upset about.
Wait,
upset about that.
So again, for the uninitiated,
Jared's
so I know Jungle Cruise.
For Jared.
Yeah, Jared's our stand-in for the audience here, so Jared will ask the questions that you guys.
Hey guys, what do you mean? What happened to the Jungle Cruise?
So they recently, I don't know where to begin.
Both
basically
it was the
starting-
Jungle Cruise and the Safari in Animal Kingdom.
Oh, the Safari too.
Oh yes.
I didn't know they read it. I didn't know they made changes to the Safari. I know
yes,
the Safari used to have the subplot about the poaching that's been gone for like a good decade now.
It was that and the scalp trader from the Safari or from the Jungle Cruise.
That's Jungle
gone.
Cruise, yes.
And then
And so are the animatronic natives from the Jungle Cruise.
Yes. And then the subplot. So after the poaching subplot, there was another subplot of something similar for the Safari.
I don't remember that at all. When I was there in 2018, it was just animals.
So between when we were kids and where we are now, there was like another one. So it was like the poacher, then there was another story, and then there's the one now where it's like just the animals. There is no story.
Yeah. I'll have to. I don't know much about that one.
I might be crazy. I might be getting confused with
you might be
the
mixing
cruise,
wires
too.
because it's very similar rides. One's
Yeah.
just one has real animals and the other one's the Safari, because those ones are the robots. The Jungle Cruise
Right.
are the real animals.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they replaced the natives in the Jungle Cruise with chimpanzees.
That's almost worse.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't realize that
out
was
of context.
the
That does not sound
Out of
great.
context, it doesn't sound good, and I Disney. I don't think Disney thought too much, but what they did was they added a subplot. For one thing, they took all the human animatronics that weren't the natives and kind of redid them too.
Yeah.
To push like a, and I don't mind it. Like I don't want to say this and sound like I'm complaining, but it's to make it more diverse. They're adding more characters from different backgrounds, and I think that's nice.
Dude, plus they let women be the boat drivers.
Yeah,
That's like new.
I swear to God, I've seen women do the jokes on the Jungle Cruise before.
Same.
Well, in our lifetime, but before that,
Oh,
no.
oh yeah.
It was always greasy men.
Oh, so you're talking about lifetime changes,
Yeah.
not the recent.
Well, I mean,
recent,
the Jungle Cruise has existed for like 50 years.
yeah, it was like one of the original, but like they just changed it. So there's like chimpanzees stole one of the Jungle Cruise boats and they sunk it.
Yeah.
So you find one half and there's like a chimpanzee. I think you find one half sinking, and then later you find the other half with a bunch of
It's
chimpanzee
almost like the
animatronics
scene
going
from
monkey mode.
Tarzan where they're like rummaging through the camp of all
Yeah.
like the fancy
It's
like building and stuff.
it's cute.
Yeah.
It's pretty cute. There's like a chimpanzee messing with the paints. There's one that's going through someone's like butterfly collection. It's fun.
And your cruise director has funny jokes as per usual.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Jungle Cruise, it wasn't actually originally it was completely played straight.
Yeah.
Like they were just like, oh, what, they were trying to be like they were pretending it was real. And then I think later on when the ride became older and it was more obviously, fake, they were leaning into the fact that it was very obviously like not
And now
real.
we've come full circle, and it's like a meta irony where it's like we know that it's fake and that they know that it's fake.
But we got to pretend it's real.
Yeah.
It's fun. Where were we going with all this?
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I was just unsure about Jungle Cruise changes. That's all.
Yeah, Jungle Cruise changes. They've been
That's cool.
changing. They've been changing a decent amount of stuff. Though I will say, in terms of new things, they've been cheaping out.
Hey, by the way, what's the status of Pandora?
Have you
It's
been?
open.
No, I haven't been. The last time I was out was 2016.
Dude,
We
it's
were
Yeah.
incredible.
Emily and I went, and it just opened, so it was like packed, but it was pretty good. I'd say their kind of justification for how it fits into the overall theme of Animal Kingdom's a bit
Yeah.
shoehorny.
Well,
Isn't the entire point of Avatar that they are in fact worthy of being people as well, in that they have their own society and should be treated as such?
No, they're not. See, Animal Kingdom's not calling the Na'vi animals.
Oh, okay.
See, because I'm pretty sure like Animal Kingdom was always about like, animals around the world and how humans relate to nature and all that.
Sure.
But with this, they're like, no, Animal Kingdom's about just how we connect with nature, and see the Na'vi are like super about nature, so it works.
You know that Pocahontas and Avatar are the same movie?
Fuck. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
Did you know that Pandora, the world of Avatar at Walt Disney World's Animal Kingdom, you can touch the cum tree?
Seriously?
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
in the Avatar movie, there's like a tree that like is involved with like the Na'vi like
Oh,
meeting,
that's right.
and you can go and you can touch it and release the spores or whatever it does. You can they added that. That's an interactive feature. You can touch the cum tree.
Very cool.
So I will say that the 2 rides in the Pandora section, one is basically like it's a small world but in Pandora. Pretty good.
And the other
other one is the best ride that Disney has and the worst ride that Disney has.
I like to call it Pandoran because it's just Soarin' but in Pandora.
Okay.
It's actually pretty cool, but it was not worth the 3 hours I waited in line for it.
Imagine not paying for the fast pass.
Oh, we couldn't get a fast pass because it was brand new,
You
so
got
they're
hosed.
all yeah.
Okay, so let me lay this out for you.
Sure.
I went recently with my family. And Disney has really been leaning into that idea where it's like, wow, it really sucks if you just like wait in line for 6 hours. Like, what if we had you wait in line for 6 hours and then like part of the queue was interactive, but you were waiting there too.
Yeah.
So, imagine this. We wait in line for forever and then we're locked in this room. And the whole thing is it's like it scans your body to align you with an avatar and it uses like a projection on the wall to like scan your body. So, I had something for breakfast that my stomach just did not agree with. So we are locked in this fucking room with a bunch of strangers, and my stomach is just gurgling and gurgling and gurgling. I'm sitting there sweating bullets. Like I distinctly remember looking down at the beautiful rubber tiles, and there just being like drops of my sweat just piling up at my feet.
Oh no!
And the voice actor just keeps going on and on. Oh yeah, I need to align you with your avatar, and we have to disinfect you because you have bacteria.
Human germs.
And because Disney's trying to like really like make you sit through this.
Yeah, they're trying to like pad the time while the ride
and
currently finishes.
Like, oh my god, dude, I'm gonna shit my.
Oh no!
Basically,
you mean you Jake Sully'd your pants?
I did not. I did not. No, but okay. So no. I'm using my Olympics clenching muscles to not shit my pants. Okay. And the whole ride is you basically straddle this horse-like structure.
Oh no!
And then it you like
so your cheeks are constantly spread the whole time.
Yes, but I was clenched, dude.
Yeah, you're counteracting. I will say the ride vehicle is really cool because you get on and it looks like a sci-fi bed. And then they do this effect where they like turn all the lights on it off as you're transforming into your avatar, and then like the shape of it changes. So now like you can feel like the dragon thing you're riding breathing.
Oh, that's actually really cool.
And like it's just like the Star Wars ride. They like use strobe lights or smoke or something so that like you don't recognize that everything's opening up. So it's just like, oh, you're going in, then boom, like it just opens up and you're flying over Pandora. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So anyways, we finished the ride. It's really fun. It was my dad's first time.
Did you wait 3 hours?
No, we paid the $15 a person.
Yeah, Bobby Chape's brand new Lightning McQueen lane.
Yes. So this was during COVID, right? So anytime like someone was like sniffly or coffee, the cast members there would like come over and like wipe the seat because like obviously
makes sense. Yeah.
You're gripping onto it like it's intimate. It's gonna be gross if someone's like sick or whatever.
Especially in Florida, they got them grippers out.
So I get up, dude, and there's a perfect ass mark.
Oh no!
From the sheer effort I was putting into not shit my pants, and the cast members there are just like consummate professionals. I get up, they're like, "Sir, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine," and then just immediately they're wiping down.
Oh my god!
Oh man! Oh, that is.
I'm just imagining you like sweating bullets, like dripping down from your forehead. Just like I'm gonna fucking lose it. I can't do this.
Especially on a motion sim too. You're like
exactly
fighting your stomach.
We're getting up and like I must have looked like a ghost or something. Goose looks at me and she's like, "Are you okay? Like, are you gonna be sick?" I'm like, So because of how long the queue area is for that ride.
Oh god!
The exit area is also super long because they're trying to make space for the 150 people.
Oh yeah.
So I'm ripping through this like maze that's in like the Pandoran Mountain. I'm like, oh my god, like it's over for me. And where do we get dumped out? This gift shop, just like every other big Disney ride.
Yeah.
And I'm like, get out of the way! I gotta.
Yeah,
I'm pushing grandmas and like all these other people. Like, I gotta go.
I gotta say the queue for that ride though, like it feels like you're on like because when we were there, like I said, 3 hour wait, And like you start on the outside and then you go into like these caves and then you're in like a nighttime forest and then you're inside like the research facility and then you're in the fucking scanning room and then it's like it's a long I remember there's like a part where it's like this super open warehouse that's just like a ramp up.
Well, and like the first 3 hours of the wait like aren't even in Pandora. Like Disney planned so poorly for how popular these rides were going to be that you like stretch all the way around this like massive walkway.
I completely forgot. We were outside the land. We started in like the Africa area.
Yeah. They have like cuts in the line because of like fire safety within Pandora.
Yeah,
where they're like they tell you like you're gonna stop here, and then when we tell you to, you're gonna join the person at the end of the line, which is like someone with like a sign or something, and that's literally just so they could keep the walkways clear.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, Disney, modern Disney doesn't really plan for this kind of capacity
How
issues.
have they not figured out that yet? I'm sorry.
What do you mean they did figure it out? Well, if you want to enjoy Disney, you pay the microtransactions to actually get on the rides.
Yeah, or you could be with the fucking poor people and wait in line.
Well, I mean, the way that I'm looking at it, right, it always seems ridiculous to me that they have not somehow figured out a system from at least reducing the wait lines.
Dude, like a pass to make it faster.
Well, they're also trying to do reservations. Like you book when you're going into the park. You can't just walk in anymore. You got to book it.
There's even some of them are even worse. So I don't know what rides follow this now, but it's like there used to be this like the virtual queue system, right? So it's like you would wake up at the ass crack of dawn. It's only available to if you're staying on property. So imagine you're staying somewhere outside of the Disney sphere.
Yeah.
There's rides that are literally unavailable to you on your multi-$1,000 trip.
Yeah.
So you wake up, you log in. It's like at the same time for everyone. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning that it's available, and there'd be 12 boarding sessions throughout the day. So you're gonna try to get on. You're gonna get like a virtual ticket for that session, right? And that just earns you the right to get in line at that time.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then wait your 2.5 hours to actually do it.
It's ridiculous. Like Disneyland doesn't really have this problem because Disneyland, despite being the original Disney park, it's more of like a local experience. They don't have a lot of tourists coming, but Disney World.
Yeah.
I mean, quite literally people coming from all over the world.
And it's only like the big like newer attractions. Like the one we had to do it for was the Ratatouille ride. Which, you do it and it's like
a clone.
Mid.
I as much as I love Ratatouille, I'm gonna have to give Disney the L on this one because it's quite literally a clone of an attraction from Disneyland Paris to the point where they didn't redub it in English.
I mean, it was cool. Don't get me wrong. It's cool. Yeah, it's new technology that you can't see anywhere else in Disney World, but
new
also
technology that they've had since 2005. No, yeah, like they're like, oh, because it's in France and Epcot, they speak French because Ratatouille, but they just didn't want to. They didn't want to redo the ride film.
Let me share you something else about Disney that I don't think either of you experienced, right? Because you haven't been recently.
That is correct.
So because of the global panorama, Disney World wasn't making the kind of money it was making before, and obviously that was unacceptable to the shareholders. So they did the only thing that they could logically do, and that was make liquor available in all the parks.
Yeah.
So
Walt rolling in his grave.
Everywhere it's just an absolute booze fest. And like I don't know if you remember like Epcot being like a drink around, it's like drinking it's 10 times worse. We went to Epcot 2 or 3 times, and every time I saw someone like over the railing yakking up.
I saw a video recently of like them escorting like a girl out of the park because she was plastered and she was like fighting the security.
Yes. And it's not
wild.
like, it's like 9 o'clock at night and they had a little bit no, it's like 11 o'clock in the morning and they had too many shots of Bailey's in their latte and they're, losing their breakfast.
Thank God they don't have an Ireland section of Epcot because you'd be getting some fucking Irish coffees as soon as it opens.
But you can do that now. Every single coffee stand will put booze in your coffee for you.
Really?
I mean, anywhere that they have the opportunity to give you that like shot of Tito's, they're selling it to you.
That's wild. Fucking Disney doing that. While Jared, you can say what you're going to say first, but while we're on the topic of budget cuts, I actually have a whole like fucking bullet point prepared.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I was just going to say, like, the next time I go to Disney, whether it's just me and Amanda or if it's like us in a group or anything like that, this might make me an alcoholic, but like drinking around the world, like I'm sorry, you are not going to catch me at 95-degree fucking Animal Kingdom without a Miller in my hand. Like come on, man.
No, it's horrible. Like you think it's
is
so
it
much.
Is it that bad?
It's like 9,000 degrees with 100% humidity. All you're eating is like greasy fried food. You're going to tell me you're going to drink beers all day and not have an issue?
Oh no! We're gonna make it an issue. Okay?
I will be a problem.
So, I have nothing to add to that. But on the topic of the budget cuts,
behave, man.
So what we've been talking about Disney nowadays is very like into just cutting as many costs as they can to get the largest amount of returns. So they're to the point where like they're canceling or downsizing so many projects. Because so in 2020 they let go like 400 I think the number was 411 of their Imagineers, so pretty large amount of people. Because the Imagineers aren't like a super large group.
No, but a lot of them it's like lifetime people who've been there like for 40, 50, 60 years.
No, there's a lot of lifetime people that have been leaving recently. In 2021, they announced that they were going to be forcing all Imagineers to move to Florida. So there would no longer be a California and Florida division of Imagineering, despite California being, the original. That's where Walt was and such like that. They all have to go to Florida, and that resulted in the statistics they gave was 15% of Imagineers were remaining, but that means 85% of the Imagineers that were currently employed at that time over the course of 2021.
Dude, you can roll that back. You can tell me exactly what it resulted in. It resulted in Diagon Alley.
Well, I mean, if we go really far back, Diagon Alley coming out in like 2009.
Wait, Diagon Alley?
So in Universal,
Universal.
Oh, okay.
The success of that scared Disney so much that their response was Pandora almost 10 years later.
And Star Wars. Yeah.
But they didn't do as near as good of a job as Universal.
No.
And now Disney's answer to Universal making a new theme park is in this past D23, they announced pretty much nothing for Florida or California. They are retheming a restaurant in California, and in Florida they're adding one singular animatronic to the Haunted Mansion, and they're bringing back an old meet and greet costume that they've been having collecting dust. And for some reason, despite it literally just being a meet and greet, they said it's not going to happen until sometime in 2023.
And there's a high-speed rail network being built in Florida, like a private company.
Oh,
okay.
And Disney backed out of it.
Yeah, they were going to have a stop directly in Disney Springs.
Yeah.
And so now Universal is coming in and like, oh, well, if you want to build a stop near us.
And Disney's like, if you want to stop near us, you're going to have to pay us for it. And we don't want you to disturb our people, so it has to be far enough away that there's no noise.
Yeah, it is wild.
So you could have gotten you dropped off in Orlando Airport, right? And instead of taking a bus to Disney World, you would have just taken the train to Disney Springs and gotten on the bus to the hotels there.
Yeah.
So Universal, the obvious competitor to Disney, is bending over backwards, offering millions of dollars in free land to this company. Yeah. So instead of being able to go to Disney from the airport or anywhere else in Florida, you're just going to be able to go to Universal and SeaWorld.
Yeah, I'm expecting Universal to become the industry leader of theme parks pretty soon, probably with the opening of Epic Universe, which I actually do have some notes about later. But Disney's in a really bad spot right now because Universal's pretty much catching up to them, if not already at the same level as them in terms of the quality of the stuff they're putting out. But Disney is also, I believe the number was reported to be around $52 billion in debt because of COVID, which resulted in a lot of canceled projects for the parks. They were gonna build a Mary Poppins ride for Epcot. That's gone. Some stuff that was in production already, like the Tron ride, got delayed, even though that's a carbon copy, so it shouldn't have taken as long as it has. And then some projects that hadn't started yet but were planned, like the Guardians of the Galaxy ride in Epcot and the Splash Mountain retheme, both of them got downsized. They had bigger plans, and the budgets got slashed.
Well, and to top all that off, DeSantis took away the special improvement rights.
Oh no, he didn't
Reedy
take
Creek.
No, he didn't get rid of that, did he?
Yeah.
No, Reedy Creek's not gone.
No, Reedy Creek's gone. It was literally so. People were upset that Disney wasn't really taking a stance against the don't say gay bills coming out of Florida. So and obviously, we talked about earlier, all the cast members there are theater kids. So the vast majority of the people working there, people are going to be directly affected by this bill.
Yeah.
So Disney came out really hard stance. So DeSantis literally gutted them from their administrative rights of the land that they own.
Checking it now, apparently it's not gone yet.
It's not gone yet. No.
DeSantis is coming up with a solution for it, which I
But it's just held up in the courts and everything. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, so Disney still has Reedy Creek right now. And for
the
those
time being.
of you, did you explain this while I was looking it up?
No.
What Reedy Creek is?
No.
So for those of you who don't know, Reedy Creek, when Disney was planning to build Disney World, they.
Oh, you mean when you planning to build Epcot?
Well, yeah, which you can get into soon. But when they were planning on building stuff in Florida, they were like, look. We don't want to have, because an issue with California is that every time they wanted to do something new for the park, they'd have to go through the approval of Burbank County.
Yeah, whatever.
They'd have to get the approval of the city, and that was annoying for them because it really slowed things down, and it still does kind of to this day. So when they went to Florida, they're like, look, we're going to cut a deal with you. We want to be able to do whatever the fuck we want and not have to get approval from the county. But in exchange, we will have to pay for everything ourselves. We'll pay for water. We'll pay for, they pay for all the
electricity.
Electricity,
we'll put
gas.
the highways in ourselves. The original plan was for them to build their own airport.
Yes. Everything, the state of Florida does not pay a single cent on Disney. So that was the thing. They get complete control of the land they own, but at the same time, they get no help from Florida. They get absolutely nothing. So getting rid of Reedy Creek would now it's a lose-lose for the state.
Yeah,
and
no, 100%.
I don't know if
this is just like fucking political theater for DeSantis.
Yeah, I generally don't. It's probably theater, but he could also just be really stupid and not know what's going to happen. So what would happen if they got rid of it is now Disney has to go through the state, but they're not paying for stuff on their own. Now, the Florida state, the taxpayers, i.e. the people who live in Florida, are now paying for Disney. And Disney costs a shit ton to run, right?
Yeah.
So now that's on the shoulders of people living in, Orlando, fucking Florida. They're not... People who live in Orlando are not making...
the Reedy Creek district was like an actual, it runs like a town.
Yeah.
So when a town is trying to make money, they can create bonds. And then, it would be like a municipal bond. Well, Disney did the same thing. So, they would build a theme park, and then the money that they needed to build it, they would just issue municipal bonds.
Yeah.
So if the state of Florida gutted Reedy Creek, they'd be on the hook for all of the debt that the municipal bonds were responsible for.
Yeah. So basically, everyone who lives in that area, their taxes would go up by a fucking
So they're just getting boned.
They're getting boned because Disney had the gall to not want to support it's
Disney
wild.
had the gall to say that gay people are in fact people.
Yeah, which is wild because
bold stands for corporations, right?
And it's wild because Disney was saying that they aren't a week before, and then they got called out for it.
Yeah.
So it's not even like Disney was doing the right thing because they were doing the wrong thing and then they got called out for it.
Yeah.
So then they went out.
So the historic reason this exists here, because this is my autistic interest, right?
Yeah, go for it.
So Walt Disney, really interesting man, definitely a fascist.
Nah, I'm gonna disagree with that.
Okay, at least
when you look in the context,
10% fascist.
When you look in the context of Epcot, maybe. But I actually I've been reading his not autobiography, the Neil Gabler biography.
Okay.
And it's really interesting, and I don't want to be like a fucking Walt Disney support. Well, I kind of am being, but he's not really the man that we kind of he's not like this, anti-Semite, hates everything.
No, you're right. You're right. He
but
was a capitalist
also,
first and foremost. If he can make money from you, you're a good person.
He's also not like the uncle figure that everyone.
Yeah.
It's a very nuanced thing, but yeah, Epcot.
So when he was making the plan in Disney, part of it was going to be that he wanted the Disneyland in the East, but the thing that he actually cared about, what he called the Disney project, the Florida project, would have been Epcot. So today we know it as a theme park where you can get really drunk around the world and there's a couple cool rides. But originally Epcot stood for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. You see the model that Walt himself and the Imagineers built in the 60s during the ride, the People Mover.
Yeah,
Yes.
So the city of tomorrow, so to speak, that was Epcot. That was his dream. So basically, he wants to redesign the American city. He's going to get rid of crime. He's going to get rid of all these issues. There's going to be education.
That was a big thing.
No traffic. He's going to bring in all sorts of new technologies for transportation.
The People Mover was made for Epcot, wasn't it?
Yeah. So basically, you would live in the suburbs out in these spokes, and at the center of the spoke would be this massive city. And the whole city would be under a glass dome and air conditioned. And it would have a high-rise building in it that would be like a hotel and a conference center. And Epcot and Disney World would be on a monorail loop, and the other place would be a corporate area where you could go and work for the industries that were like building America.
Because the Disney park was supposed to be like where they would make their money that would funnel into the city, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then the city was his, prototype of tomorrow, and his whole thing was like, you would never own the house that you lived in. It would always be owned by Disney. You would never have any land rights. You'd never have the ability to vote.
Yeah, that was a big thing. Sure, yeah, he might have been against like the Nazis and stuff, but
he was also a shrewd businessman.
It was a little, and it's really just because he thought that he knew what would be the best for the American people. But it does get a little fashy, just a little bit.
The whole thing is like you wouldn't need a car in the suburbs because you could just get on the People Mover to the city, and then from there it could take you to mass transit to your job at the industrial area.
And then like all of the traffic for like trucks
was underground.
It was underground. Yeah.
So it's like there would be this massive parking lot that would be underneath the city that you would never see, and that would be parking for the Disney World.
Yeah, like if people who like drove cars would park underneath there, and then like trucks going in and out of the city, and there was like it was made in layers too. So like the cars were on one layer. It's kind of terrifying to think about, like being a truck driver and you're like like a mile underground,
And it was really cool. Like the idea was that everything would just constantly in rotation. So like the cities would never get old. It would never get like grungy and gross because the companies that were sponsoring it would just replace it with the newest technology.
Yeah.
So your house would always be like demolished and replaced, and it would always have asbestos and good American products in it.
Which honestly sounds like an awful way to live. Like you it's like you wake up and somebody comes in, here's your brand new toaster, right? And then like a month later you get woken up because they're bringing you a new toaster, and you're like, but
the last one had lead in it, so actually we're giving you this.
And you're like, but I just got used to this one, and it was an interesting idea, and it was definitely like it was the idea of a guy who was just an ideas guy
who'd never been told no.
Yeah.
So and it's cool, and like there's lots of like pieces from it that have been like repurposed into either areas in the parks or like even just like generically into like city design. Mm-hmm. But because they were like, we're going to do experiments and we want to be able to have like a university and do whatever the hell we want, like the Reedy Creek District has like literally no limitations. So like Disney World in the 60s basically like forced Florida to sign agreements saying like, oh, it would be cool if we had like nuclear reactors on site, right? Because like that was a burgeoning technology. That was something that they were interested in, right?
Yeah, and that was an interesting thing about Walt, because despite being a relatively conservative man,
it was always about moving forward.
It was always about moving forward.
Technology.
It's like he was a man with I don't know whose quote this is, but there's someone quoted saying Walt was a man with 1 foot in the past and 1 foot in the future. Like he was never really in one place at once, because Disneyland, Main Street USA is an idealized version of his hometown, but then yet you have him wanting to fucking build a nuclear reactor to power his.
But it's cool because like you see some of that today in Disney World, right? So it's like as soon as it became like fiscally possible, there's massive solar farms outside of Disney World. They have a desalination plant on site. Most of the drinking water there is Disney's like recycling sewage.
Dude,
and those are all like brand new technologies that they were able to roll out because Florida couldn't tell them no.
And the science, they literally have gotten rid of the mosquitoes on their property because of like they put in extensive research, and then like I think the solution was they just have a bunch of like chickens living in certain areas.
Yeah, and it's like it's all natural stuff. So like anywhere you see flower beds, there's special herbs there that grow that like push away the mosquitoes. They release ladybugs into the plants because we're not afraid of ladybugs, but ladybugs eat mosquitoes.
Yeah. And then the mosquito-eating chickens that live out in the swamps that we don't see.
Yes. So it's like, people forget, but like Disney World is built in like the swamps of Florida. Like you're literally in the middle of the fucking jungle, but like there's no mosquitoes. Like between most of the all the areas with air conditioning are like set to like just spill out into the open area. So like you're walking in the middle of the street and you feel like crisp 35-degree air just blowing past you.
Yeah. It's wild. It's a really interesting place.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. There's a lot of, and this is why I'm like really into it, because literally every aspect of the park has some sort of history behind it. And whether or not you're like a fan of Disney Company and Walt Disney, like there's an inherent kind of interesting thing about like this man, he created an industry around all because he was at the park with his daughters and he was watching them on the Ferris wheel, or not Ferris wheel, the merry-go-round. And he was like, I wish there was something that like parents and kids could do together. And then boom, here we are now.
Are you guys familiar with the Anthropocene?
No.
I don't know that word.
So it's like every geologic like age is based off of like the fossil record. So the Anthropocene is our fossil record. So hundreds of thousands of years ago, when we're all buried under a bunch of dirt, like the trash we left behind, like the crap we've left behind, that'll be the Anthropocene, right?
Okay.
Disney World is like peak Anthropocene, right? It's like this like idealized place that's completely fake that, you know, uses a lot of electricity and makes a lot of trash.
Let me tell you, man, archaeologists are going to be fucking fascinated like 500 years from now when Florida is like completely underwater.
Dude,
you know?
dude, Disney's really taking the Little Mermaid retheme of their parks to the next level. It's really under the sea.
Disney World will be the lost city of Atlantis.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, are you implying that the Walt Disney Corporation will not survive 500 years from now? They're gonna, you know, charge $3 million to come to the park because
underwater.
It's the only spot left on Earth that has a properly controlled climate.
So you think this is a post dome? Is gonna happen?
This is when the mouse takes over the entire world.
No, it won't be a dome. Like they're definitely go like way beyond that. Like they'll build like an ozone crater that protects just Disney World.
Dude, real talk, I always find like that kind of like people like, oh, you know, the mouse is gonna take over the world. Like I find that shit so it's like funny but also like annoying.
Now, dude, the only thing people talk about is the Microsoft.
Yeah, well, it's just like, you know, oh, Disney ruined Star Wars, so now they're the mouse who ruins everything to sit on world domination. You're tie into the last episode.
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, two episodes ago. Yeah. Let's see what else is here on the docket. So we got Walt Disney's somewhat fascist utopia.
Yeah, we talked about that. Was good.
Oh yeah. So you guys. So my last time at Disney was in 2018, which was just me and my girlfriend Emily. But you guys had gone, and our group of friends in high school were all planning on going to Disney. It was gonna be this massive trip, and then it whittled down to like 7 people.
Can we refer to the fact that all of us were friends because we were theater kids?
Yeah.
Just to pull that team together.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah. So yeah, in 2016, these guys, among some other people that we knew at the time, decided to go. It was gonna be like
We're not using the word friends for a very specific reason.
Well, I mean, you know, one of them, he's still a cool dude. I haven't seen him.
That's
in a long
true.
time,
Yeah. So I was gonna say,
shout outs to Danny.
So as a big graduation gift to all of us, I guess we
from
all
us.
from us for us.
It was gonna be like a 40-person trip too, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the group chat was initially we had a big group.
It was
group
double
chat.
digits. It was a lot.
Yeah,
of people.
it was probably
like
20 or 30
What was that
people.
chat called? It was like that app. We used it all
Group
the time.
GroupMe.
GroupMe.
Yes. So there was probably anywhere from like 25 to 40 people maybe that were in this group chat.
I have
initially.
no clue. We had a large friend group.
It whittled down to 8.
Well, yeah. Once people realized that other people weren't going to pay for your trip,
Yeah, because I remember the thing was the person who was in charge was like, I did the math, and because there's so many of us going, it's only going to be like a couple $100 per person. And then because people started bailing, that price started going up, which caused more people to bail.
Yeah. So it was me, Tyler, one other buddy of ours, Danny. Super good dude.
Yeah, Danny.
Yeah, cool.
Danny, if you're listening to this, we should hang out sometime.
we
still
recently
send each
started a
other gifts.
podcast. Would you be interested?
Yeah.
Well,
Danny, I know you play Pokemon Go. Add me.
Yeah, dude. Me and him send gifts all the time. Anyway,
Maybe he's the one in Brussels.
he could be. Maybe he could be, dude. I haven't spoken to him in years. But yeah. So we were chilling. We were great, and then there were 5 girls.
Oh boy.
I don't even know what started it, to be honest
Isn't
with you.
one of them your like then to be future girlfriend?
It is. Yes. Yeah. So Amanda was there,
What,
but she was always chill.
Jared, are you
Yeah.
trying to say that the problem on the trip was the women?
No.
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying.
I
think
know,
there
I
was
was
two.
just
There was
trying
to-
two
I'm
women
saying-
who started it. but that was
I'm
like-
saying
I
that
was just
Jared,
doing a
Danny,
bit.
and I had an incredible trip.
Well, so here's the thing. When I was just with you and Danny, it was great. I had a good time. When there's anybody else, I was miserable. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Just prior to us going to Disney, Jared had actually visited Chernobyl, and he had like nuclear burns all over his back.
Jared accidentally he decided to look at the elephant's foot directly.
Well, no, he didn't look at it. It was
So-
just his back. He
Oh,
just like
okay.
he faced it back and like kind of like arched over it.
Yeah, I was kind of like okay. You know the boomers from Left 4 Dead.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I looked like.
No, it's like when people come back from Turkey after getting hair implants and they just like bleed all over the airplane seat. That was Jared's back.
So you had back problems while you're at Disney?
No, it wasn't just back. I had a 3rd-degree sunburn.
Oh, okay.
So that happened during.
I threw out my back at the age of 19 while I was there. It was not.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Yeah. So what happened was, again, this was our senior year, and we had our senior picnic, right? That is the one and only time I've worn a tank top in my life. And when that happened, I guess I didn't properly apply sunscreen. And fast forward, like that night, because we had a meeting that night of like all the parents and the kids. I remember we met at the Granville Scoop.
Oh yeah, because we were all still technically children at that time. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, so
I mean, I wasn't there. Not.
Yeah, but still, so we were, like, maybe not all, but a bunch of the parents and the kids all met up, and I remember like going there, like I was taking a shower beforehand because like I was out, I was playing, dodgeball or whatever we were playing at the picnic,
getting sweaty.
Yeah, and so like I hop in the shower and I was like, damn, my shoulders are hot, and then like eventually, like fast forward a couple days, I was like, shit. I'm like pussy, bro.
Crispy.
I was
got
like,
that pussy.
I got that pussy. Yeah, so it was disgusting. And Tyler, our soon-to-be nurse friend, was in charge of applying like this like burn ointment onto my shoulders for the first few days of the trip. Because dude, like my arms, obviously I can't. I'm doing like a little like chicken dance right now. I could not go any further than this.
That's
because it was brutal.
Not only that, but you guys were going to Florida in like what, June?
July,
yeah.
Which is honestly
rookie mistake.
Yeah, that was tough.
Oh my god, you'd take a shower, you'd feel so refreshed. You'd open the door to the hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah,
300% humidity, 105 degrees.
Yeah,
you'd walk like the 2 steps to the bus.
Yeah, it was so humid.
Was gross.
It was so humid that if you started kicking your legs, you'd actually be able to swim through the air.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so that's
it was a hoot. We had so much fun.
Yeah, again, when I was with you and Danny, we had a great time.
The meal plan was there.
Do you remember what we called ourselves though, real quick?
Yeah, the 3 habaneros.
The 3 spicy habaneros.
I don't know.
I don't remember how that started, but yes.
Dude, all I remember is you and I, the quadruple chins out at 11 o'clock at night. I go for cheeseburger.
Yeah, I still got the snack on my meal plan for the day. We got 25 minutes until midnight. We got time.
Oh man.
Yeah. No. So honestly, and here's the thing though. So there was just like a shit ton of drama. I don't even remember how it started. I don't even remember what it was. Man, we couldn't even drink. All right.
Didn't someone walk in on you on the shower?
No.
Or something like that. I remember there was drama.
I'm happy. Okay, this was funny. This was actually a relatively drama-free encounter. So what happened was, this was Star Wars, obviously. Me and so I built a custom lightsaber for both me, and then I built one for my brother Aiden. And then Danny, the other guy in our group, and so me, Danny, and Tyler, we all shared a room. So we were like getting ready for bed one night, and I tossed Danny the other lightsaber, and we were having a lightsaber duel. And like me and him were both in like our like boxers and just like boxers and t-shirts, and but what I was wearing
the
at the
spicy
time,
part, wasn't it?
Yes, the spicy part was that I was wearing boxers, but they had Pokeballs on them.
Pokemans.
Like it was like a Pokeball pattern, and then some of the girls who were next door came in during me and Danny sword fighting, and
yeah,
that's how. And then there was a big reaction, and I was like, "You walked into the room, man. Like I'm not responsible."
They stuck the bicycle. They stuck the stick in the bicycle spoke. They can't. They can't get mad that the bike fell over.
But yeah, no, I think it would be a hell of a lot more fun if we went with like a group of people, and
I expect BS Live.
Not to sound like a Disney adult, because I can't. I'm not a Disney adult because I actually criticize the company, so that makes me exempt from the ridicule. from Redditors.
It's just like from our first episode. You're not a Redditor. You're a Reddit user. You're not a Disney adult. You're just an adult that enjoys Disney.
Yes, exactly.
Right,
it's totally different.
Totally the middle line, guys. I'm telling you, it's great.
I'm not a Rick and Morty fan. I just watch Rick and Morty. I want to be able to enjoy the thing without the stigma of people. Yeah. So that was a wild time. Danny brought me a T-shirt home from that. It was very nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Huh.
I went in January this year, and it's now the end of September. Did I give you the shirt that?
I'm actually wearing it right now.
Okay, thank God.
I dripped out for this recording. I brought my Disney World shirt.
It just dawned on me. I was like, oh my God, no way.
No, you gave it to me like a while ago.
Okay.
Yeah. But now I'm going this right after Christmas.
Are the decorations still gonna be up? Did you look?
Yeah, because last time I went, it was, I think it was the very, very beginning of January, and they were up until the last day. The last day of our trip, they had taken it down. So we did Magic Kingdom 2 days. Emily and
Hold up. I have to say, I've gone in January more than any other month. January is the fucking time to go.
Yes,
it's like a crisp 65, 70 every day.
It was perfect. Perfect temperature.
Oh my God.
And so we got to see Magic Kingdom with the decorations, and then we got to see it without, because we did it like first day of Disney, last day of Disney. And it was I had never been before, so it was interesting to see how they decorated the parks. But we're going right after Christmas, because now I'm going with my family, because they
Are
were
you gonna
like,
be there for New Year's?
Yes, and
oh
so
my God,
I looked into it, and I guess Epcot is like the only park that really does something on New Year's.
I think that's the only one that's open till midnight.
Yeah, so we're going to Epcot on New Year's, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Especially now hearing that people are getting plastered at 11 in the morning.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
And now I'm 21.
I will
Not
never
that
forget
I
it.
drink heavily.
It was our last day. We went to Epcot. We had reservations somewhere for lunch. And we walked past like the French Pavilion, and there's like a bridge right outside the French Pavilion. And this guy is just like literally like almost entire body is over like the railing, just like throwing up. And you look up, and there's this like plane flying overhead that's like making smoke trails. And when they were done spelling it out, it just said, "What would Jesus do?"
All right, so really?
Yeah, as I was surrounded by God's drunkest Disney goers.
That is wild, because that plane definitely was there illegally.
I know, that's what I said.
Because Disney has, for those of you who don't know, since Disney owns everything, they also control the airspace, and they will not let anyone fly over their property for whatever reason. So of course, some wacky religious dude would come in
and like a fucking Cub Piper.
Oh, that's wild.
It was incredible. I thought for sure I was gonna watch the Air Force blow it out of the sky.
That would have been you see fucking like Mickey in a biplane just
dude. Mickey shot him down with the Mouseketeil, dude.
It's the surprise tool that'll help
See
us
you
later.
in hell.
Well, I think we talked enough about Disney to say that Six Flags blows.
Yeah.
Other than Fright Fest, it's
See, this is how we tie it back to the beginning of the podcast when I said Six Flags isn't worthy of being called a theme park, because there's no fucking theming. It's a bunch of we painted the roller coaster red and blue, so that means it's Superman. Like, come on.
No, I agree. I mean, they do that for a lot of the DC stuff too. So because they have, I'm trying to think, Batman, Superman, Joker, Catwoman. It's pretty much all the Batman shit. Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
I think there's a.
It's just
Harley Quinn ride.
It's just Six Flags parks are usually just a random assortment of DC and Looney Tunes theming slapped onto basic like out of the box rides. I mean, don't get me wrong, that was our local park, and I have a lot of good memories of going there.
I've been twice.
Definitely before. I mean, most of the good memories were before the head injury, but
I'm surprised you remember them.
Yeah, huh. Well, it's not. I'm not going to get into it on the podcast, but see, I went last year for Fright Fest because one of my friends from college came down and wanted to go, and I remembered why I don't going, because it's essentially paying $60 for me to ride the swings and the teacups. That's it. That's all I can do.
Pay another $60 for chicken tendies and fries.
Yeah. That's cafeteria food. Yeah, Six Flags. Oh boy, Six Flags is actually not to talk about more like big stuff, but they're pretty much on the they're not doing so hot. They could be going down soon.
Really?
They are the only theme/amusement park, that kind of thing. I call them amusement park. They're the only one of those companies that has not made all of them, they did not make profits in 2020.
Right.
But it is the only one that hasn't come back from that.
Oh.
It is continuing to lose money. Meanwhile, Disney, Universal, not fucking Cedar Fair or whatever,
Yeah.
But all those ones, they're making profits again. But
well, I
Six
mean,
Flags is not.
when you staff your park with high school kids that couldn't pass a piss test, I mean, I don't know.
And Six Flags is new. I don't know how new he is, but their CEO, they had like a big conference or whatever, and he was like, oh, like my priority is like. We're going to do things that incentivize more spending. We're going to get rid of the bring a friend days. We're going to get rid of like the refillable, like they're pulling a Disney and taking everything that used to be like kind of free or included with like a premium thing and making you pay for it all. And he also said like they're going to de-emphasize building new rides and instead focusing on like retail experiences. So, because that's definitely gonna get you out of a couple $1 billion of debt. But yeah, fuck Six Flags, except for the one time that I got to dance with Bugs Bunny on stage. That was pretty cool. I was 6. I got to dance.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, I actually the production company I worked for during college, we actually did the like all the sound and lighting for them.
Really?
So so when they did like the Kids Fest and the Cokes Fest, which are just like these like week-long festivals basically. The Coke Fest, as you can imagine, sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So we were like set up in the gazebo there, and there's kids dancing. They do like dance battles and
boy,
give away like
Fortnite dances, hitting the gritty for
so many,
Six Flags.
So much, dude. But no, just a quick thing. I worked the longest shift of my life during that, and because what happened, this was the Coke Fest thing. It's a week-long thing, pretty much. Park opens till the park closes. We're doing music, we're doing games, we're doing whatever. And so I got there at like 7:30 in the morning, and like I'm driving my car right up with the speakers and all that, and fast forward, I do the entire day. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I get a call from my boss at the time, and he says, oh, I'm in New Hampshire for a gig right now. Can you wait? And I was like, sure. They must have just hit like a shitload of traffic because they didn't get to Six Flags until about 2:30 in the morning.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't think the park is open at 2:30.
You would be surprised. Well, I mean, it's closed, right? But
yeah.
I was sitting at the gazebo with like a couple of like our like spare like dance floor lights turned on because like it's pitch black, dude. I felt like I was in a fucking Scooby-Doo episode, man. Like,
but did they give you any Dippin' Dots?
No, they didn't.
Damn.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's kind of horrifying to be in like this big.
Very scary.
I think it's probably mostly in the fact that it's like a place that you always expect to see people and lights and such. So then when it's completely dark, like it just your brain is like, this is not how it should be.
Yeah. Well, exactly. No one was there. I mean, there was a couple security guards walking around, but they have like.
But were you by yourself sitting there?
Yeah.
This was after FNAF came out too. I would have been shitting bricks.
Well, I never played FNAF.
Dude, how could you not? I say as I've never actually played
I've never played it either.
I've osmosis the lore through my brother. Shout outs to Jack.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen Jack play it more than I've ever.
When are we gonna have the TF2 episode of the BS Crew podcast?
Yeah,
we can do that. Yeah,
get him on here.
Cool. Yeah. So moving on. What else did you guys want to talk about?
I don't know. I've just been kind of rambling.
I've covered everything I wanted.
I can't.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that I could say that I couldn't say more eloquently than the YouTubers we've talked about that I've already said them. But I think we were talking about theme park video games. Bringing that up.
I feel like maybe we should roll that into our comfy games.
I would have to agree.
There's a lot of stuff there. I will say the things that we won't be talking about in the comfy games, there are a lot of very shovelware theme park games I've come to see. Not like ones where you build a theme park, but like back in the day, they just made random like NES games of like the parks. And
what about the Wii era? Where anyone with a computer could get their game published on the Wii.
Yeah, dude, remember the Connect Disneyland game?
Oh, that's right. I was trying to figure out what that what system that game was from, and it was for the Connect.
It was you could not control that thing. It was wild. But if you ever wanted to see the funny slave animal movie characters in a video game format, that's the only time you'll be able to see that.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the decancelification process has already begun on Splash Mountain.
No, oh boy, I will. I don't want to say I love Splash Mountain, right? Because it was
fully endorse the values of the kid.
Yeah, it's hard to say that because I do love the ride, but I don't. I'm aware of because as a kid I didn't know what it was based on.
Right.
Learning, it's not a great It's a bad movie, and it's not aged well. It wasn't good at the time either. I'm trying to say this without saying terms that.
Let me put
YouTube
on my mole person costume.
Yeah. No. The movie is incredibly racist, and the ride itself isn't racist, but it has those connections, which is why they're getting rid of it. But I'm excited for the Reed theme. I like Princess and the Frog. That's one of my favorite Disney movies.
What do you think about them getting rid of the sex selling scene in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride?
So I actually got to see that scene right before they got rid of it. I remember I was on the ride and I was like, I turned to Emily and I go, so this scene, they used to sell women, but now it's like, now that the pirate's a girl, she gets clean. It's not offensive anymore. And then we go by the original Bride action scene, and she's like, I thought you said they weren't selling. She didn't care. She was like, whatever, it's a ride, right? Like she didn't.
They must have already had done the decancelification in California, but not in Orlando.
Yeah. They hadn't gotten to it yet.
Yeah.
I don't really care. Like, I know, historically accurate. They would have done like it's a ride. Like same for I love Splash Mountain, but I'm not gonna be like, New Orleans is not in the frontier, so it doesn't fit where Splash Mountain is, or whatever. As long as Disney doesn't cheap out on it, which, judging by D23, they already scaled back on the project, and the only thing they could say about it is that they're going to be projecting things onto fog, which is apparently they've never done that before.
What do you mean?
For all
they
the times
do that
they
for
have.
the pirate.
Yeah, they said that we've never done this before. We were projecting onto fog, but they.
Hold on, let me run the numbers.
They say as they do that in the same park. Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
So.
Cool.
Yeah, we were gonna talk about video games, but Splash Mountain and I look. I don't know. I'm just repeating myself.
It's okay. So cozy games. We'll talk about like Roller Coaster Tycoon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cozy games. Yeah, I think that fits.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about the shitty shovel.
I want to talk about Jay Schlatt. This is not the episode for that.
That's yeah. We'll do Jay Schlatt sometime.
Yeah.
All right. So as we're wrapping up, let's do pick of the week. How does that sound to you fellas?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Tyler, you want to take us off?
I wrote something down, but I'm actually gonna say it's the double grilled cheese burrito from Taco Bell.
Oh,
you got to get it before it goes back into the taco vault.
Big fan. Huh?
It's basically like a burrito, but with like the spicy red bits inside, and then they cover it in cheese instead of the cheese being on the inside.
I gotta watch my cholesterol, dude. That sounds like
I'm gonna get diabetes, dude. I swear. That's
dude,
like,
you can only have like one every once in a while before it goes back into the vault.
Yeah, the Taco Bell vault. They're doing that's how we connected. They're doing the Disney tragedy, the Disney vault, but for Taco Bell.
Exactly. And I guess Tiny Tina's is okay. Like, it finally came out on PC, and I've been playing it lately.
That's good. Happy to hear. Anyway, Charlie, how about you, buddy?
My pick of the week for this week is my lovely girlfriend Emily got me a Game Boy Advance and
Is it the purple one?
It's the one that it's like translucent purple, but it has like Pikachu and Jigglypuff and Togepi on it.
Dope.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so it's like the original Pokemon console. And I also I got two games. I got Pokemon Crystal and Metroid Fusion with it, but I haven't played Fusion because I want to get a backlight installed onto the Game Boy because the original Game Boys had no backlight, so you cannot play that in the dark. And
can I make a recommendation?
Yes.
There are people on Etsy that sell these things. I think it's called like the Master Cart or something like that. And hypothetically, what you do is the games that you own, right? You would legally make copies of. And then put it on a micro SD card and put it in the cartridge.
Interesting.
People on Etsy, what they do is they'll show you like their collection of games that they legally own and that they legally downloaded, so you can get an idea of like what you could put on your cartridge.
That sounds neat.
It's dirt cheap in comparison to buying like the actual hardware.
Yeah,
so like hypothetically, you could have the entire North American Game Boy library. It's like just on the cart ready for
hypothetically,
you
of course.
I love when we talk hypotheticals.
Yeah,
it's so productive.
Obviously, they're just selling you the empty cartridge and empty SD card, right?
You'd have to do it yourself because like you'd have to own all those games.
Yeah,
legally,
of course. But my pick of the week, Pokemon Crystal. I've never played it before, but I have had a great time with it.
Is that one of the actual ones, or is that one of the ROM hacks?
It's one of the actual ones. Crystal is like, so there was Gold and Silver, which were the second set of games, and Crystal was kind of like the third, like definitive version of it.
Oh, okay.
And I gotta say, it is probably one of, if not the best Pokemon experience I've ever had. It's it's only the second generation, so it's very bare bones.
Exclusive to the Game Boy, or you mean like across everything?
Across Pokemon, I don't know.
Wow.
It's just a very comfy.
Impressive.
Like I there's a lot of Pokemon games I've enjoyed, but this one, there's something about like the art style.
And, like they hit the formula right.
Yeah, it's kind of because what Gold, Silver, and Crystal was they thought Pokemon was going to be over after that. The big hype was, and it was going off. So
it's like MGS4.
This is our swan song, right? So they were meant to be Crystal especially was meant to be the send off to Pokemon. This was it. They instead of other games, they're making up a whole new area, doing their own thing. Crystal and Gold and Silver build upon the last game, so it's like the neighboring country, and so everything is just it doesn't have as much of its own identity as later games will have, because it's pretty much a glorified sequel, but it feels like it is like the culmination of early Pokemon, and plus they nailed the art style, working with that very limited Game Boy Color palette. Game Boy Color palette.
I was saying, because it's not an advanced game, right? It's one of the long cards.
Yeah, it's so this one, Crystal, was exclusive to the Game Boy Color.
That's wild.
You could not play it on an original Game Boy.
So it's cool to play without a backlight for that, because the original hardboard didn't have a backlight.
Yeah.
Either.
So I'm like having to like hold it at an angle so I can see, because it is a dark screen, and even I've been playing it at night a lot, and Crystal has a day and night system, so at night it makes the color palette for the overworld extremely dark.
Oh jeez.
So it is a fun, but it's been a great experience. If you haven't played that game, I would recommend it. Even if you're not a Pokemon fan, it's probably one of the most accessible Pokemon games. And there's just a shit ton of stuff to do. Like there's 2 regions, twice the amount of gyms. There's a whole lot of gotta catch them all, all 250 whatever.
And you can fight Red.
And you can fight Red, which is probably one of
one
of the coolest fights in the series. Just good time. I could ramble about it, but it's good.
All right, for my pick of the week, I'm doing trivia at a new place now.
Woo!
I think that was your pick of the week for episode 1 too.
I don't think so.
Oof.
If it was, that'd be mighty embarrassing.
Editing Jared, put up on screen right now if current Jared should be embarrassed or not. Oh, he should be. Oh,
wow.
No, hold on. No, I'm looking it up.
We're totally wrong,
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain.
But good for you, Jared. I know our good pal Jerry here has been he's been trying to find a new place to do trivia, because the last place totally fucked him over.
And the place before that too.
And the place before that.
I wouldn't say I ever got truly fucked over. Just things fizzled out.
It was a light amount of fucking.
Damn, that's really nice. Just because it's up the street from here doesn't mean you have to be that nice.
But yeah, so I'm now doing trivia over at Progression Brewing. Had a solid first night.
All 0 of our local viewers, come check out. Guy from Brussels will get you a ticket.
Yeah. We'll have him come out here. So yeah.
Put your social security in the comments below, and we'll see about getting out there.
All right, kids, take your parents' credit cards and put the 3 wacky numbers on the back in the comments, and we'll get you a ticket out here.
But yeah, no. So I actually did a Big E round. So did around all about Big E trivia.
Big E?
Yeah, for Speak for
How many pounds of butter does it take to make the elephant?
Yeah, a lot of it was like what year was the first Big E?
What year was it?
There's some food. 1917.
Whoa, 1917.
Wow, I didn't realize it that old.
Damn.
That means we're past 100 years. Damn.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was that. I asked about some of, like the food trucks that were there. Like was it the Boulevard or the Avenue of States?
Speaking of food trucks, have you guys been to Gastro Park in Weha?
No,
I can't say I have.
Go.
I've heard good things though. Yeah,
it's a fancy Zoomer place where the inside has a coffee shop, a bar, and a charcuterie shop.
Love it. I'm sold. All right, you boys wanted to say anything else? Are we?
Don't forget to wear your seatbelt.
It's very nice.
Make sure that you're on the good side of our overlord Bob Chapek and his archdemon Mickey Mouse when they eventually take over the world. Because as we all know, media is the only thing important. So whoever controls the media.
And be sure to tune into our last episode about the Spooktacular.
Yes, the one that has totally been filmed by now.
Right.
Also, for the record, I was sarcastic. I hope that came through.
I think it did.
Okay. I'm not an edgelord.